Welcome to special stage for the all-wheel drive club Britpart Safari Championship. We're at Minehead for round 4 of the championship, but before that we'll take a look back at all the action from round 3.
Round 3 of the championship, sponsored by Causeway 4x4 and SRE Recovery, would take place in Wales, a returning venue that we didn't see last season, so this would be new territory for some of the crews. It would be an ideal start for Chris Bird in the Milner. Not the fastest time over the first run, but he changes that on the following runs, ending the third lap in the lead of the event, but not by a massive amount at this early stage. The man with that fastest time on the opening run was Andy Di Giulio, but with Bird having a great few stages, it would have to be second place for now. Mark Hones had been enjoying some good pace this season so far, and that would continue here at round 3. He sets an early good pace to lie in third at this stage of the event. And Greg Clement would follow closely behind, settling into 4th place now in the Milner. The car fighting the slippery conditions to set some good times. The results this season were getting better for Bob Rawlinson in that new car, and this round was no exception. 5th place after run 3, and putting on a good show for anyone out spectating. Rob Scone starts the weekend well. 6th place over the first few runs is a good start. Improved pace this season for Tim Philpott sees him move into 7th place after just 3 runs here in Wales. And while luck wasn't always on the side of James and Philippa Tennant, at least at round 3 it would be a top 10 start. 8th place to be exact, the pair settle in over the morning's runs and managed to get round with only minor incidents so far. Tim Henry with Neil Wakefield alongside start off the day in 9th place. A good position for a charge on the next few runs. And rounding out our top 10 would be Oliver Arnold. A steady but consistent start to round 3. However, Arnold wouldn't take that 10th place alone, as we also see Henry Crudge join him in 10th on exactly the same time, showing just how close this championship can be after just 3 runs here in Wales. After run 5, there wouldn't be much change at the top, with Chris Bird leading the way still. The only issue for the Milner driver would be the fan belt breaking on run 5. But this wasn't a problem, and in fact was still a fastest time. Unfortunately, this couple of stages would see us lose Andy Di Giulio from second place. The problem with the engine after run 4 would cause him to retire. A disappointing blow to the championship points here at round 3. So for Mark Hones, it would be a welcome move up into second place. Going well still, and now with the loss of Di Giulio, it was up to Hones to set the second fastest times. Di Giulio, though, wasn't the only one to suffer on this stage. Greg Clement had been going well in 4th all morning, but a failure in the prop shaft on the 4th run puts them out of the event, and all that's left to do is spectate. There would also be a move up to 3rd now for Bob Rawlinson. This move upped the results in part due to the loss of Di Giulio, but a place would also be gained with improved times, now setting 3rd and 4th fastest times consistently. For Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield, it would be a great charge over these couple of runs. They move up now from 9th into 4th place. And stepping up 2 places now is Tim Philpott, who is in 5th position after the same amount of runs so far today. And some good improvement for Henry Crudge sees him step up from sharing 10th place to taking up 6th place on our leaderboard, all to himself now. For Oliver Arnold, who was sharing that 10th place on the early runs, it would now be 7th position. A move up the results, but it would be 2nd place in that battle with Crudge. Unfortunately for Rob Scone, it will be a few places lost as he drops down into 8th position. Even more frustratingly, this will be the last time we see him, not making it round for the final remaining runs and dropping out of our leaderboard altogether. For Martin James, that means it's a move up into the top 10 now. He drives his way into 9th place. And unfortunately for James and Philippa Tennant, it would be a drop down to 10th. The front mudguard coming off in run 4, which caused some lost time. A mudguard may not sound like an important part to the car, but with the brake lines attached to the mudguard support, it will be a cautious run to the stage finish. Just over halfway through the event now, and a look at some of the class runners. With Oliver Arnold leading Class 8 in the top 10, it will be James King who takes up 2nd place in that class. Brian Dyke passes the midway point meanwhile in 3rd place in the class. And for Bob Parsons, it will be the Class 7 lead at this stage. Scott Scott Benwell would take up second in that class after run 5. And for Tony Rooney, it would be third in Class 7. Paul Mansfield here leading the way in Class 4. Second going to Paul Waldron. And just one crew in Class 2, so it's Robin Izzard that heads up that class. The same story in Class 5 as well. Steve Bennett, the only one running in that class. And for Ray Edwards, it would be the leading position in Class 6I. At this point in the event, we see Adrian Marfell in the Class 3 lead. Just over halfway through the event now, and a look at some of the class runners. With Oliver Arnold leading Class 8 in the top 10, it will be James King who takes up second place in that class. Brian Dyke passes the midway point meanwhile in third place in the class. And for Bob Parsons, it will be the Class 7 lead at this stage. Scott Benwell would take up second in that class after run 5. And for Tony Rooney, it will be third in Class 7. Paul Mansfield here leading the way in Class 4. Second going to Paul Waldron. And just one crew in Class 2, so it's Robin Izzard that heads up that class. The same story in Class 5 as well. Steve Bennett, the only one running in that class. And for Ray Edwards, it will be the leading position in Class 6I. At this point in the event, we see Adrian Marfell in the Class 3 lead. Two more runs for the crews now, and for Chris Bird, it would still be the lead that he had to lose. Continuing the run of fastest stage times, ensuring he keeps that lead going into the final few runs though. No change either for Mark Hones. He remains in that second place, keeping the chasing crews at bay for now and looking like it will be a good finish this time out. And things were still going well for Bob Rawlingson too. He remains in that third place he gained during the last few runs. There would be a little change now in fourth as Tim Philpott steps up a place to take that position. This step up for Philpott on our leaderboard is of course at the expense of Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield. They drop down a place into fifth position. Oliver Arnold now making it up to 6th place in these couple of runs. And we see 2 places gained for Martin James. He steps up into 7th position. A new face and a jump up into our top 10 now, and it's 8th place for Jason Elphick in the Freelander. Mike Bakewell, another to improve the pace and capitalise on problems up ahead in these runs, to jump into 9th place. Tenth position on our leaderboard, meanwhile, is rounded out by Brian Dyke. On to the final runs now, and a look at how the classes and overall results were decided. First in Class 3 would go to Adrian Marfell. He also finishes 22nd overall. Paul Mansfield finishes 1st in Class 4 and just misses out on the top 10 in 11th overall. Steve Bennett here ending the day in 1st in his Class 5, 17th overall on the leaderboard. Third in Class 7 would go to Tony Rooney. He finishes 21st overall. Scott Benwell, meanwhile, here, taking 2nd in Class 7 with a 19th overall finish. But it's Bob Parsons who takes the Class 7 victory with 13th overall. In Class 7I, 3rd place would go to the Freelander of Jason Elphick, also bagging himself an 8th place finish overall, a good result. Martin James finishes just above that in 7th place and 2nd in the class. But it would be Tim Philpott that takes the Class 7I win at the end of the event with an impressive 4th overall. In Class 8, it would be 3rd place for James King. He finishes 12th overall. Brian Dyke, meanwhile, remains in the top 10 overall to finish 2nd in the class. But it would be 6th overall on our leaderboard for Oliver Arnold, and that nets him the Class 8 victory. A good day's racing. In Class 8I, it will be 14th overall Henry Crutch who takes the 3rd place class points. Mike Bakewell making it to the end of the event 2nd in class with 9th overall. But the class win this weekend goes to Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield. They have a great run to 5th overall. Onto the overall leaderboard and the main awards now. Rounding out the podium places would be Bob Rawlington. A good pace all day was enough to move him up the results and into that position early on, and he remained there with consistency and good pace as well for the rest of the event. For Mark Hones, it will be second place. A good pace all day was enough to keep him chasing that lead, but not, on this occasion, enough to do anything about it. Runner-up was the way it ended here at round 3. So that means there, with a dominant display all day, it will be the overall victory for Chris Bird. The car performing well, the driver performing just as well, with only minor issues, and the crew get to the end of the event in one piece, with a comfortable victory here in Wales. So with round 3 complete, here's a reminder of the final results.
That's all for round 3. Join us after the break for round 4 here at Minehead.
Round 4 of the championship, the Dunster Biomass Heating sponsored event, moves to Minehead, a site which was well received last season by the crews, so they'll be looking forward to a good run here today. 9 challenging runs would face the crew today, and it would be Andy Di Giulio opening up an early lead of the event over these first few laps. With last round's winner Chris Bird not present, or not racing at least, it will be one less contender taking the fight to Di Giulio this time out.
Tough. It's concentration is unbelievable. It's just trees, well, they're everywhere. You can't lapse. It's like, yeah, I can't describe it. It's just exhausting, yeah. So we've got to do 10 of these.
So obviously you said that, the conditions are quite hard. Are you finding it difficult on yourself then?
Yeah, it's just there isn't a point where you can actually have a breather and gather your senses again. It's just literally tree. It's through the woods, and just judging your speed. If you go too quick, you're going to hit a bump and you might hit one. It's just it's tough, but good. Same for everyone.
And the car's handling right?
Yeah, touch wood. Yeah, going really good. ACR have put a new engine in for us. That's going well. Paul from ProLinks has done all my suspension. We've got different settings today, and it's going well. So yeah, we're on the pace today. Good.
Having one less contender though didn't mean it would be easy here. Mark Hones, runner-up at round 3, would be out to take on the early event leader, settling into second place once again, but with an eye on bigger things for the next few runs.
So you're battling at the top of the leaderboard with Andy. How are you finding the conditions?
Interesting, very interesting. Now it's got wet, yeah, but it's good. It's a typical Minehead.
And how are you finding the car?
It's rough. It's getting rough out there now, but it's good. It's good fun. Yeah.
This round was going well for Alex Holford too. He lies in third place after the first 3 runs of the day.
So Alex, you're third overall at the moment. We're off now for the 4th stage. How are you finding it?
Slippery. It's definitely a case of weaving in and out of the undergrowth and praying you don't find a tree while you're in there. It's treacherous. This little shower of rain has just put enough grease on those tracks to make it interesting, shall we say. But that plays in my hands, so I like slippery.
So is the car handling all right for the conditions?
Fine. I mean, I have spun it twice out on the grass, but what can you say? Haven't raced, a bit rusty. So yeah, we're getting to grips with it now.
For Tim Philpott, it will be an early 4th position. Settling into that place he finished the last round in, he'll be looking to keep hold of that, or better still, improve on it by the end of the race. It wouldn't, though, be quite as good a start for Bob Rawlinson. After finishing 3rd on the last round, it will be 5th position to start the day here at round 4. Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield were having some good events of late, and this was no exception. They end run 3 in 6th position for now. Martin James was having a better run here at round 4. He lies in 7th, the position he finished in last time out, but this time he hadn't climbed the results to get it. A start like this could see more of a push this afternoon. We see Kenton Riley here in 8th position, not present at the previous round, so this would be all about scoring some valuable points for the championship. And for Brian Dyke, it will be 9th place at this stage, going well so far with no real drama to report. And rounding out the top 10 at this stage will be Mike Coward. In the classes, it will be Simon Smith leading Class 1. Mike Tilney would reach the end of run 3 in the lead of Class 7. Meanwhile, Tony Rooney would be close behind, 2nd in that Class 7. We'd see an unfortunate retirement for Bob Parsons. He retires from Class 7 after just 2 runs. Adrian Marfell leads the Class 3 runners at this stage. While it's Paul Waldron taking the early lead in Class 4. After 3 more stages, there will be no change at the top. Andy Di Giulio still in the lead of the event. The times were still good and the lead was now extended. But the run of fastest times was broken with a 2nd fastest time on run 5.
So Andy, you're still leading the event. How are you finding the afternoon stages?
Yeah, it's getting harder. It's all cutting up in the woods, and there's all rocks and boulders coming out on the climb. So we're getting loads of transmission wash, and yeah, no, it's hard work but enjoyable.
For Tim Philpott, it will be a good move up into 2nd place. Himself setting some great times, including a 2nd and 3rd fastest time on these couple of runs.
So you're now in 2nd place. How are you finding the event?
Well, we've had our ups and downs, but we just persisted and kept on the straight and narrow, and then it's paid off really, not to do anything too carried away and have an accident. But it's getting very slippery, and each little shower rain makes it a bit different, but it's good. It's a really good course. We're really enjoying it.
And things were going the right way too for Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield. They move up into 3rd place, the times getting better as the day went on. For early second place, Mark Hones, it will be a drop down into fourth, unfortunately getting stuck on the bank in the second half of the stage and losing around 4 minutes here while the car is pulled off that bank. There wouldn't be any change in the leaderboard for Bob Rawlinson. He remains in 5th place, but it was still going well for the Focus driver. There would, however, be a drop down into 6th place here for Alex Holford, unable to keep the pace up and remain in that early 3rd place that he'd held. Brian Dyke, meanwhile, moves his way up the order from 9th into 7th after just 6 runs. And it would be a steady run for Kenton Riley. He remains in 8th place at this stage. Simon Smith makes a move into the top 10 now and holds 9th position on the leaderboard. And a new face rounding out the top 10 too. We see Andy Chapman take up that 10th position. So with just 3 runs remaining here at round 4, let's have a look at how things finished up. In Class 1, it will be the only class runner Simon Smith completing the event and taking the class points. Mike Tilney has a good run to 2nd in Class 7 as well as 16th overall on our leaderboard. But it would be Tony Rooney who takes the class victory this weekend in Class 7, also claiming 13th overall in the process. Not the best of weekends for Peter Downey. He takes 3rd in Class 7i and finishes down in 15th overall.
Is that the one we're not sure?
Bob Rawlinson now slips down the overall results a little into 6th overall, netting himself 2nd though in Class 7i. It's another great result for Tim Philpott though. He claims his Class 7i win, as well as another strong 4th place finish on our overall leaderboard. Rounding off the top 10 here and taking 3rd in Class 8 would be Andy Chapman. Kenton Riley ending the event 2nd in Class 8 and 8th overall as well. But it's Brian Dyke who leads the class home with his 7th place finish. It had been a tough day for Greg Clement and Tom Aubrey. Gear selection problems on the first run gave them a maximum time. The rest of the day spent chasing back some of that lost time. 12th overall and 3rd in Class 8i was the best they could manage here at round 4. It would also be a problematic day for James and Philippa Tennant, breaking the steering on the opening run and having to walk back to service to weld the part up and then go and refit it back on the stages. Despite being a few runs behind, they finish all their runs during the day to end the event in 11th overall and 2nd in Class 8i. But without any of those problems, it would be a well-deserved Class 8i win for Tim Henry and Neil Wakefield. The pair end the day not only in the lead of the class, but in a strong 5th place overall finish too. So onto the overall results now, and it will be a final podium position for Alex Holford. He makes his way back up the results and into that 3rd place at the end of a tough event. We'd see Mark Hones back up into 2nd overall by the end of the event. The time made up from his earlier encounter with the scenery was enough to ensure he was the best of the rest at round 4. A finish that could have gone a different way on this corner midway through the final stage. But with a solid, healthy lead, it will be victory going to Andy Di Giulio today. Although it wasn't without its drama. As well as hitting a bale on a previous run, he would go out and roll the car on the final run of the stage. Minimal damage though, and the car just needing to be put back on its wheels. This means he could continue and finish with that lead still intact. So with round 4 complete, here's a look at the results at the end of the day.
So Andy, you managed to keep your position throughout the day, but with quite a dramatic finish.
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah. Last 2 laps, we hit a barrel of straw going into the last, well, on the first lap going into the first left-hand corner, just going in too hot. And then we went out on the last lap with, I think, a 4 or 5 minute lead, cruising it really, and hooked up into that corner. And as I slewed it round, it just, it dug in and we rolled. So, but we managed to get it back on its wheels. Cost us 2 minutes, but we've still managed to win. So we managed to beat Mark. But I think he come past us when we was on our side, and he probably thought, you know. But it's been a good day.
And obviously the weather's played its course as well today.
Yeah, I mean it's been changing, isn't it? It was wet this morning, then it sort of dried out, then we had another shower. The woods have been, apart from digging out with all the cars going through, the woods have been pretty steady, but the change has been on these fields as you come on, especially that corner along that ridge. It's just been like driving on ice, and then it dries out, and then there's a lot more grip, and you go quicker, and then you come out on the next lap, and it's all gone slippery again, and it's just a little bit of luck, you know, needed when it gets like that. But
well, congratulations.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah. On to the next one now.
So after a wet start to round 4 of the championship, it was Andy Di Giulio who went away with victory, but it wasn't without his problems. Join us again on Special Stage, but for now, thank you for watching.